Hey everyone, Brickhouse here with another video on a soggy Friday. Wow, I just said Tuesday. Wow. Um, this is a perfect example of how to not address your detractors. Um, as many of you know, or probably know, or if you don't know, you're gonna know now. Netflix has a documentary out there. It was released, I believe, earlier this week about Egyptian Queen Cleopatra. Now, this documentary is directed by somebody who, in my opinion, is an SJW. It's produced by Jada Pinkett Smith, and it centers around Queen Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. And the brouhaha about this is the fact that they race swapped Cleopatra. Now, some people will dispute that claim, but when you look at Cleopatra's history of being of Macedonian and Greek descent, um, I'm pretty sure she wasn't full on African. Just saying. So the Netflix Queen of Cleopatra star Adele James dismisses Egyptian complaints about docuseries race swapping. Blackwashing isn't a thing. Though there's been a loud backlash from Egyptian nationals, including the country's government itself, towards Netflix race swapping of their history for Queen Cleopatra, the docuseries star Adele James cares little for any of it, as she believes that all of it is based on nothing more than a mix of self-hatred and, of course, racism. When in doubt, throw the race card in. James broke her silence on the topic during a recent appearance on the 79th episode of the Wayne Ayers podcast. Asked by the eponymous host for her opinion on the fact that people are mad about Cleopatra being blackwashed, the British actress replied, "Blackwashing isn't a thing, is it?" It is. At this point, a bit of technical difficulties caused some of James's response to be cut off, but when her microphone kicked back in, she could be heard asserting, "I find it sad that people are either so self-loathing, or so threatened by the blackness that they feel the need to do that, to separate Egypt from the rest of the continent." Following a brief discussion about her process preparing for the overall, Ayers then inquired with James about whether or not the fact that nobody has seen it yet, but everybody is bashing it, has been the biggest career obstacle for you. There was absolutely a lot of people saying very horrible things, but it definitely wasn't everyone. She said, "I think that's so important to remember that, like, in the grand scheme of things, there were some people who lost their minds over it, but there was a lot of people, uh, there was a lot of really positive responses immediately as well. And it's remained, it's consistent. People are so excited. I'm getting messages all the time. But this is the biggest thing I've had to deal with in the public sphere." She then noted, "It's the most I've had to navigate personally as an actress. This has definitely elevated my profile considerably on an international scale. The biggest show I had done before this was a television program here in the UK, the long-running British soap opera Casualty. That does have repeats in other parts of Europe, but several years down the line. In the UK, it's big, but outside the UK, it's not as big. So this is like a whole nother scale of a project for me. I would say it's not wholly negative," Adele added. And actually, as time goes on, those voices have gotten quieter and quieter. Ayers then broached the topic of the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Archaeology's recent criticism of the Netflix series as competing with the simplest historical facts and the writings of historians, to which James responded with dismissive laughter. "Of course she did. Yeah, I know I shouldn't laugh, but it's quite funny," the actress explained of her knee-jerk response. "It's quite funny. The level of threat that you must feel just on my skin tone to file a lawsuit against an entire streaming service, that to me is really extreme. It's a really extreme reaction." James would then reveal that her defense of Netflix's race swapping was rooted in contemporary notions of race politics, claiming that the response from the Egyptian people was 100% fundamentally rooted in racism, which is a very modern ideology. The ancient Egyptians, they don't think about race like we do, because race has only really been contextualized since we understand since the transatlantic slave trade, she argued. That's not how people thought back then, right? So it's really bizarre, but to me, I find it very sad. I feel sad for them. Closing out the conversation about the Netflix series, Ayers ultimately asked James what she hoped critics would gain from watching the series. Well, if they watch it, if they give us some hate views, I hope that they will understand that it's a debate, it's a conversation, it's not a definitive answer. And actually, the research on it is really interesting, and the people talking about it are really interesting. But I'm sure they'll discover quite quickly that the series is about so much more than that. Cleopatra is no more reduced to what her heritage may or may not have been than I am, or any of us. We're all full human beings, and she was a full human being, a person, and that's what this is about. So, of course, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, there's no reviews at all. Scrubbed. Nothing. No audience score, no critic score, no nothing. So what do you think's going on here? Now, if you go over to Metacritic, 1 positive score and 71 negative scores, where the user score is a 0.2. Now, 5 critic reviews are mixed, so that's why the Metascore is 45. So why is it that you see nothing here on Rotten Tomatoes? Now, we know the trailer got ratioed to death on YouTube when it was released. It's the fact that people just are tired of the woke Hollywood BS. And of course, she immediately brought up racism, which this isn't about race. This isn't about racism. This is about being historically and factually accurate. So comment down below, everybody. Share your opinions, share your thoughts. Please like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the notification bell to get notified when my content is uploaded on a daily basis. And as always, I thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you later.